Hey guys, rolling again with Safe Financial with another case study using the IUL strategy versus a 529 college funding plan. And we are going to start at age 2. Let me increase the size of that so you can see it better. So here's a strategy using $504 a month being contributed, which is equal to 6,048 annually. And instead of stopping at age 18, when these kids usually start college, we're going to keep going to age 25 or 23 years worth of funding. The strategy behind that is that you allow the child to earn as much on their own, whether it be a grant or a full ride for academic or athletic scholarship. They're left to do things on their own, even as far as possibly getting a student loan, get through college, earn their keep, earn their grades, and then at age 25, you can kick in with whatever we have accumulated into this strategy and paying off their loans after the fact. So they get to earn their keep. You get to build cash over time into this strategy with a tax deferred benefit from the IRS because this is a life insurance chassis that we're using. Now, the way the strategy works, we're using the 6,000 to fund it annually. And if you'll notice by the way it's designed, immediately in a year after opening the policy, we've got over $5,000 in cash value. So it runs pretty efficiently. We have reduced the amount of death benefit, keeping the cost down. And if you look after 10 years of funding this thing, you've got 60,480 contributed, and you've got 66,959 in cash value. So make it very efficient. Break-even point's probably somewhere between 7th and 8th year, meaning that the amount you put in, there's an equal amount of cash sitting in the policy. Again, with this strategy, it's liquid. So unlike a 401k, where you can't touch the money at age 59 and a half, or I should say a 529 plan, earmarked for college use, this one is going to be liquid and it's not at risk in the market. So you won't see any down years. Now you may see some zero, but you won't see any down years. The strategy is designed to where it mirrors, and in most of the time it's going to be the S&P 500 with caps, meaning that if the S&P 500 caught a rise in the market value of 20%, but the strategy uses a 9% cap, well, then you're going to get 9% for that year. Should you see an 8% rise in the S&P and not touch the 9% cap, then you'll get the full 8%. And at the same time, if the S&P 500 shows a 15% loss for a year, you're going to get it credited as zero for that year, but at least you're not going backwards. So again, this strategy is liquid, it's safe, and it will grow tax deferred. Now here's how the strategy comes into play. A couple of scenarios. Say at age 18, the grandchild decides to either not go to college at all. This money can keep growing, can be gifted to them later on to buy a house, start a business. You can buy them rental property so they can live off of or get some money from the rental income. It's the possibilities are endless beyond the college funding. or the college reimbursement should they open up a student loan. By the time they graduate college and they're at age 25, you'll have 251,000 sitting in cash after contributing 139. That's on the non-guaranteed policy values estimated at 5.97 average rate of return for those 23 years. Should you miss the mark and only get 4.4 at the end of the 23 years of funding, you'll have 205,000 sitting in cash. Again, decent return, nothing sexy, but safe, tax deferred, and tax free access. Meanwhile, if you look at that same snapshot, you've got 251 in cash, and the death benefit has grown to 823. Now, depending on the strategy, I may suggest when you get to the year after you stop funding it, we could switch this strategy back to a level death benefit, meaning that we will freeze the death benefit where it's at, so that the cost of insurance doesn't increase that much. Now, honestly, it doesn't increase that much until you get past age 60. So maybe I'll let this thing grow for a bit more. But if you look at it, if you don't use this for college and you gift this to them as an early retirement gift, if you'll notice, at age 52, there'll be 1.2 million sitting in there. And by the time they get full retirement age at age 67, it's going to be about 2.8 million in cash value. So with time on their side, because they're so young, and compounding interest, tax deferred, you can see how powerful this strategy can be, just letting the money ride. You know, you stop funding this thing at age 25, and if you let it just keep going, this thing just compounds unbelievably. So great strategy. Also, having gotten the policy at age 2, when they're more likely pretty healthy, unless there's some birth defects, the death benefit that grows also has a living benefit component should they encounter an illness even early in childhood. And if you keep this policy throughout, if it happens that they I don't know, have a major medical condition at age 42, you have a percentage of that 1.6 million that's accumulated over time in the death benefit as a percentage of that as living benefit should they encounter a major heart attack, cancer, stroke. If they're unable to do activities of daily living, again, because it's a life policy with living benefits, there are beyond the cash accumulation that we were trying to start the strategy with, you have living benefits that can be used throughout. They don't have to pass away to use the living benefits. That's there available for them to use. And again, the cash accumulation, you can take a chunk out of that, buy some rental property, flip some houses, whatever it is you guys want to do with this money. You had 23 years of accumulation with contributions in there, and after you stop, it just keeps growing. Just an outside the box strategy, outside of a 529 plan. So my name is Roland Harmio, Safe Financial. Hope that helps. If that interests you, you can reach us at 985-464-9595. See you guys next time.